Missouri coach Brian Smith here in Columbia, hours out from the duel against Virginia Tech. What kind of crowd are you going to have tonight?
Don't know. It's January 2nd. It's students are gone, but there's a fan base that'll be here. I know we'll have a couple thousand at least, if not more, and it'll be hyped up. There's some unbelievable matchups when you look at it. I think they have 5 or 6 guys ranked in the top 10. We have 6 or 7 ranked in the top 10. So the matchups will be, on a fan perspective, fun to watch. There's going to be some good ones.
You remember how many people attended your first duel here?
Yeah, about 35 to 40, I think it was. Mostly parents. It was on the track, some bleachers around a mat, so it's changed a little bit.
How have you created such a electric duel environment here?
A lot of hustle. A lot of people that just think people are going to come. Some states it's in the culture. We had to create it here. It was not a winning program. I don't know if it was losing. They had some decent years. They had some decent individuals, but there wasn't a great team here for years. And so it just took time. But really it was, a lot of times it was getting neighbors to come and door to door, inviting people. And we used to have tailgates for them. My wife would sneak people in a part of the Hearnes, and they have an indoor tailgate started with 20, 30, 50 people, and they would enjoy coming to the matches because they could have the tailgate and socialize, and it just grew from there to today. That's the 300 people that buy the $200 mat side seats and eat and drink before the match, and that group has grown, and they sit mat side, and they're a loyal fan base to then growing, getting the clubs and the state to come out and support it. And then just our fans. We have fans that have been coming to duels now for 15, 20 straight years and enjoy it and love it and know the team. And so that just takes time to grow that fan base. But they definitely enjoy it, and I know they're driving me crazy for tickets to Kansas City. And how many do we have? Do we have enough to keep everybody happy, which is going to be tough, but that's a good problem.
It's an interesting look down there when you look down on the Hearnes Center floor. I mean, you got the octagon mat, you got the lounge area. How have those things been received by your fan base?
They love it. They love it. And in the back, you'll see they'll all be sitting and eating, and it's all they can eat. Their food is there, the buffet lines, and the alcohol, and drinks. And college football has it figured out. I mean, I was just down at the Cotton Bowl, and we had 11,000 people at a tailgate on the Rangers baseball stadium inside with the band and all. College football is about all the stuff that happens before. During, they love it too, but it's the before stuff that people enjoy, and we've tried to copy that and make it where it's an atmosphere. Like tonight, Greg Warren will speak 30 minutes before, probably tell a couple jokes, but we always have a visitor come in and talk, whoever the honorary coach or one of the coaches, and just doing stuff like that, and the people enjoy that. They're treated special, that mat side group. But then our fan base, there's always something going on with a giveaway. Or the other thing we're doing now too is just with local businesses. We have a group called the Tigers with Style, and we give them a t-shirt that say Tigers with Style, and shelter insurance to I think tonight at Simmons Bank, which is a big bank here. They're bringing 50 to 100 people, each of those two groups, and each week we have a group where all the business people that work there come, and they're seated together, they get announced on the mat, and it just brings people and a lot of those people have never been to a college wrestling mat. Some of them are fans, maybe 10 of them. The other 40 may first college match they've ever been to, and they love it. That they get kind of forced into it because their business is coming, but then they enjoy it and become fans. So it's trying to cross the line and get those football, basketball fans to come over and watch a match. Those are some of the ideas we've come up with, and this is the second year of doing it. And every week we have groups coming in now that are big groups of companies and bringing their whole company in.
How much influence does Greg Warren have as your honorary coach tonight?
He thinks he has a lot. If you've heard him in his advertisement, he's talking about benching Keegan if he doesn't give the effort.
Cutting him.
Yeah, he's going to cut him. But that's Greg. Greg is awesome. He is one of our great supporters. He was an All-American. He was an academic All-American, and has gotten into comedy over the last 20 years or so, but always good to the program, putting on shows for us. coming up and hanging out with the team. He was at the duel in St. Louis, calls me almost every week during the season. Just a fan, not, today it might be different. He may be saying, let's go with this lineup or whatever. Let's bump Keegan up, and but he's not going to have any input. He's going to tell you he does, though.
Speaking of, is Keegan going to be 65 or 74, or you're not tipping your hand yet?
We are not weighing in a 74, so we're weighing in 265. So that's all I can tell you.
Okay, all right. What's Payton Mako's status then? How long are you without him?
I don't know. He's on the mats drilling. It's just he's not 100%. You would see that if you watch them drill. He has to be really careful. He sprained an ankle pretty good, and it just takes. It's going to take 4 to 5 weeks, and he's about 3 weeks in right now. So he would go. He's like, I will do it for the team. I'll go battle, but I don't. He could re-injure it more. That it's just not worth it at this time of the season. I mean, we're coming to win the stool meet for sure. It would be an easier chance if we had him in the lineup, but we're doing the right thing for him. He's heavily taped and not even close to 100% yet. But we're hoping for Stanford, and I think we wrestle Stanford in 8 days. We'll see. There's a chance at that. If not for that, we'll have him for the West Virginia Cornell weekend. That's my ultimate goal, is to have him 100% for that.
You got an interesting non-conference schedule. What went into putting that list together?
Just good competition. Arizona State, Cornell, Illinois. Anybody that will wrestle us will wrestle. So we ask everybody, and it's just getting some people to come. We'll go out there, like we're going out to Cornell this year. We were out at West Virginia a few days later. We'll go wrestle Cornell. This is a very experienced team, very mature. They want to wrestle good. They get excited about the big matches. They had a great time wrestling Illinois, a different style. Arizona State, they want to see the best. And that's part of it, that when we get to the Big 12 and get to the Nationals, we'll feel prepared because we've seen a lot of different styles. So that's kind of what goes into it, just getting high-level competition.
First couple months, I don't think you've had your full lineup together one time yet.
Yeah, probably not for a while now with Payton out. But
how would you assess the way you've performed up to this point?
Solid. I mean, some really good things. I'm seeing us score a lot of bonus. There's a couple guys that could do better. On an individual, I could go through it and maybe a couple guys getting an A as a grade, but overall, there's a lot of little things that guys are winning. We have a lot of guys winning at a high level, but want to see in all 3 areas, their top, their bottom, and their feet. There's always one area that can improve for all of them, but do like the way we are scoring points. When I go through and I look at our points, and I know you get 3 for a takedown, but we are pushing and trying to get bonus points in every match. That's a goal of our team. I like that, and even in the Illinois duel and before that Air Force, I was seeing us getting a lot of tilts, something we're working on. So there's things in progress that will continue to get better, and we're working on in the room. But this team works at it, so it's fun to it's a fun group to actually coach every day. They really enjoy the practice room.
2 months in with this rule set, what are your thoughts on the way things have played out thus far?
I like it. I think it's the right thing. I do see, when I talk to my fan base, they're like, we like it. They're seeing the difference, that you're rewarded for takedowns. I mean, my guys are not afraid to cut people now, and knowing that 6-1 at the end of a period is a big difference. But it's also taking time to adjust, that coming back when you're down 6-1 isn't as hard as you think either. If you have the old mindset, you're looking at 6-1, man, that's a lot of takedowns. But it's the same thing still exists. You got to wrestle hard for 7 minutes. You can't have let-ups, and if you continue to do the things where you ride hard, get turns, score takedowns, you're going to win matches. So nothing's really changed in that. I'm just seeing the fans enjoy that there's more majors and tech falls and guys going for the turns and things to open up the matches. So I do see that.
How about lineup decisions in terms of weights that might still be up for grabs a little bit? Where are you at with some of those?
We're pretty solid at every weight right now. I mean, Colton Hawks and Whiting are very close, but Whiting's just been on a roll here, and he's only lost 1 overtime match. That he's really solidified himself, but things can change. Hawks still brings maturity. He's been to the national tournament, He just took third at the Soldier Salute, and so he's doing a really good job, and he's beaten some high-level people. But nothing is set at that one, but right now all the other weights are pretty much set.
Noah Certain off to a really strong start
Yeah.
to this point. I think 9-0 maybe.
Yeah.
With quite a few bonus point wins there. What have you seen from him that has enabled him to maybe take it up a level this year?
I mean, the biggest this year is health. Last year he had a banged up knee and had the knee cleaned up after nationals and just didn't feel comfortable shooting. So it was finding ways, he found ways to win. He got into the Big 12 finals, I mean, hitting a throw, but he wasn't attacking. And I think the big difference this year is his leg attacks, and because he's really, really good on top. And so that's not a secret out there, that to get him the ability with takedowns now to get on top more opens up matches even more, and that confidence that he can go score leg attacks has just given him that ability to just know that I'm going to score more, I'm going to get on top more, and his confidence level is huge right now. So this is a big tonight is a huge match. Cooper Flynn's a really, really tough opponent, and it's a close, I look at styles matchup wise, it's going to be a tough match, but he's ready for it. His confidence level. He's been to the national tournament 3 times. He has expectations on himself, and we do too, where he should be. And he's starting to come up to those. He's finally cracking the top 10 and doing all these things that we had expectations when we recruited him. Maturity is a big part of that. Health is a big part of that.
57's another big one. Andonian and Brock Mahler. What have you seen from Brock in his move up to 57? How is he settling in there?
Just attacking. I mean, if you watched him in his early career, which was forever, he's been wrestling forever. He's in his 6th year. Just winning matches 4-3, 3-2, holding on and not shooting at the end. I think he has a lot of tech falls, majors. I think he's only had one match go regular decision, or he was trying to get a major. I don't know if he got the major at Illinois, but he was in on attack at the end. And just wrestling the way we see him in a lot of moments in the practice room attacking, he's just really found that he knew how to do it in the practice room. I don't think it's tighten up. He would just wrestle really conservative because he knew it's hard to take him down. He's really hard to take down. But now that he believes in his offense, man, he's a scary dude because he's tough on top too.
Mentioned Keegan earlier with 65, 74. Is he in your ear about wanting to wrestle Edmund Ruth or Makai Lewis?
He kind of heard that we might have to do that because he knows that Mako was hurt, and he's like, I'm all in for whatever you need, coach. And that's the way he is. He's the ultimate, team or student athlete to coach. He's an amazing person in that sense. He'll do whatever we ask, and he'll be 100% for it. And no matter what happens, he'll step off the mat. When he stepped off the mat with Edmund Ruth, it was like, man, I'm freaking tired. That was hard. But, he battles. He goes so hard. So he enjoys competition. He embraces it. So he doesn't get flustered about any of that. He actually would look forward to wrestling Makai if I told him you're going up. So it'll be interesting to see where the duel's at that point. And I didn't make the decision in Illinois till about 30 seconds before they were supposed to be announced. And I was doing an interview. I knew what I was going to do, but got caught in the interview with Gibbons and Taylor. And by the time I got out and got down to the workout area, I said, all right, you're going, 74. And they found out a minute before the 65 match.
What do you learn from him?
A lot. Watching him train and his mindset. His mindset's amazing. Just the way he practices is really, really the highest level I've ever seen. The highest level I've ever seen. Just always working on things and picking brains and watching things and just always learning and getting there before practice, coming up and saying, man, I watched this thing the other day, or saw somebody do this, or I'm going to be working on this, and always evolving. And you don't always see that in really good wrestlers. A lot of times they're known for this, and that's what they do, and they're successful with it, and they don't have to get better. Keegan's always getting better. He's always evolving. And that kind of permeates through the room, that whoever he's working with, and then guys are coming up to him, Keegan, what do you do in this situation? He has such a knowledge of the sport and he shares it with the team, that he's become a great team leader. It's like having a player coach, that's special. We had that, with Ben and Jaden and those guys too, but this is even at I would even say a higher level.
What has going back to the Big 12 done for your program?
It was big for our fan base. My fan base really wanted that to happen. They didn't dislike the MAC. They just, because we still wrestled Okie State and a couple teams through that, but they didn't get as excited for some of those duels as they do as now that our non-conference duels are Virginia Tech, Cornell, Arizona State, and our conference duels are, when you look at the conference, there's like 8 or 9 teams in the top 20 right now. So when West Virginia right now is doing really well, if they come in when they're coming in next year, or South Dakota State beat us a couple of years ago, that the competition level of the Big 12, it's 8 or 9 deep right now, that it's definitely made where the fan base appreciates that. And I look at this year, we could qualify 60, 70 guys from the Big 12 with how the high level it is, that our fan base knows the sport now and appreciates the good competition and the level that the Big 12 is at. So that's why it had to happen.
We always get into these State of the Nation conversations. What can college wrestling do to strengthen itself right now for, to solidify itself for the long haul?
I mean, you hate to say copy what successful sports are doing. Football realized there was an issue, and they're having a huge issue with opt-outs and things. Our sport's having that too. The regular season really doesn't mean that much. I mean, it does mean something. People do come and they cheer to watch duels, but I could schedule no duels next year and just wrestle the 5 or 6 that the Big 12 make me, and then just go to a couple tournaments and that's it, and go to the nationals and do well. And some kids are doing that. Some kids that have injuries, and they just pick and choose. And I always say to my guys, if this was a national championship dual season and you have to qualify, like football next year, kids are going to wrestle or are going to play football a little banged up. Kids are going to, it's going to be a different setting when you have top 12. If there were 16 teams qualifying for a dual championships, the season would mean so much more. Duels would get more coverage because of it. And I think it's the way we have to go. I mean, if you're looking at all sports, they're doing that we have to mimic the successful sports. And it doesn't mean we have to be exactly like that, but we have to add more meaning to the season. I mean, the tournaments, I'm looking at the scuffle and the Midlands and the Soldier Salute, and we had guys wrestle. A lot of the big programs didn't wrestle in those. And the top, I know Iowa did, but there was Ohio State and us and a few others, and it's just hard. Why should we go to a 2-day tournament and risk injuries and all these things when it doesn't really matter? So we've got to make the season matter more, and people appreciate duels. So moving forward to a dual championships, I preach this all the time. If our sport wants to become more of a meaningful sport during 3 or 4 months, then the duels have to matter more.
How do we, if you're king for a day, if you're the commissioner of wrestling, what does the season look like? How do we fit all of this in during the?
I think you could do the dual part at the end, have the duels during the regular season, then do the individual, or you could do the individual early. Doesn't really, but I think the duels have to be after the individual, and you have to have that so the kids, can win their individual titles and become All-Americans, and then you could go through some more of the tournament part, which is, and you could even still have the NCAA tournament, and we could still do our own tournament for the dual championships, which I know they'll say we've done through the NWCA, but football does a tournament right now and crowns a national champion that's not an NCAA champion, and they make billions of dollars. That we could, I'm not saying we're going to make money, but we could have a dual championship and get it funded by a streaming site or ESPN, and have businesses jump on board and pay winning fees or amounts to teams for travel and things. That we could be doing this right now as an organization to get it going. We try things during the season, but I feel like it has to be after the season and after the individual. That I think that would be the best scenario to get the best out of everybody. The kids go and battle. They may get banged up at the individual, but then they'll lay it on the line for their teams, bumping weights and having fun matchups to try and win dual meets, and the crowd and the sport would be appreciated.
Always appreciate the conversations, Brian. Anything else for us?
It'll be a great duel tonight. Hopefully everybody's tuning in.